Hello, and welcome to this video presentation. My name is Paul Brett. I'm a Senior Software Support Analyst supporting the Transformation Extender product from IBM. The topic for today's video is using Oracle with ITX 10 via odbc. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. In today's practical demonstration, I'm going to show you where to obtain the Oracle ODBC driver for Linux. I'm going to show how to apply that ODBC driver, which includes edits to the odbc.ini and odbcinst.ini files. Finally, I shall show you executing a map that retrieves data from Oracle via ODBC. So this is the page that we get to when we use the link in the previous slide. I'm going to use Instant Client for Linux. Obviously this information applies equally to Instant Client for Solaris, Instant Client for AIX, etc. I'm going to jump to the 12.2 installations and I'm going to download the Instant Client package basic 12.2.0.1.0.zip. In addition to this, I'm also going to download the ODBC section, which we find here, Instant Client Package, ODBC, again 12.2.0.1.0. Here in my Linux session, if I change to the Downloads directory, you will note that I have the two zip files that I downloaded in the previous section, as well as a tnsnames.ora file that has been provided to me by my Oracle administrator. So let's get those installed. I'm going to change to the opt Oracle directory, where my administrator has given me full permissions to be able to create any directories that I need. I'm going to use the unzip command, and we'll unzip the basic client first, and then we will unzip the ODBC section. Okay, if I now show you the content of my directory, I have a directory called Instant Client _12_2. Within this directory, you will note that I have the all-important libsqora.so.12.1. This is the library that the ODBC adapter binds to. We also have the standard libclntsh.so.12.1 file. This is the library that the Oracle adapter would bind to. Okay, next step is to copy that tnsnames.ora file into this directory. Okay, and I'll just show you the content of that file. This has one entry called ORAC that connects to a remote machine on a specific port. In my login profile, a variable gets set which enables the adapter to know where to find this particular file. The variable is called tns_admin, and as you can see, it's pointing to this current directory. Next step is to run the ITX setup script and then review the odbc.ini and odbcinst.ini files. As you can see, I have my two files here, and if we check the value of certain variables like odbc.ini, they're pointing to the correct places after running the ITX 10.1 setup script. So let's have a look at the content of my odbcinst.ini file first. You will note that I have a section that is general to all drivers. The odbcinst.ini file has an odbc section where tracing and other values can be set. I also have an Oracle 12c ODBC driver section. Now the exact wording of this is important. It needs to match exactly with what we have in our odbc.ini file, which I shall show in a moment. But there's only two values in this section, and that's description, which can pretty much say anything, I believe, and the driver section, which has to point to the file that I have just downloaded from the internet. I'm going to show you that this file does exist. This is the file that we downloaded in the previous step with the unzip. Let's show you the content of the odbc.ini file next. You will notice that the odbc.ini file on my system has only one connection profile called ORAC. The driver description here has to match exactly with the stanza that's in the odbc.inst file. This is the way that it finds the driver. And the only other entry that I need is the server name that I've got in my tnsnames.ora file. So basically we have everything set up now. We've downloaded the driver, we've unzipped it into the location, we've copied in our tnsnames.ora, we've ensured that we have our tns_admin variable set, and we've got the absolute minimum in our odbc.ini and odbcinst.ini. So let's see if we can run a map now. So if I go to my maps directory and into odbc, you will note that I have one map and two flat files. It should be obvious what these flat files are doing, but I will show you anyway. The SQL statement flat file has my SQL statement in it, and the connect string flat file has my connection string. I shall just go through that. We have DB type, and we're choosing the ODBC DB type. We have -connect, and we have ORAC. Now this must match exactly with the connection profile that I have in my odbc.ini file. Then we have our user, our password, and finally -t to activate the adapter trace. So let's execute this map now. test1.mmc is the map name, and I'm going to do output echo 1 to have the output from the map brought onto the screen. So there we go, there's the normal output from the map execution, but buried in there you will also note that we have the actual output from the table. There's 3 rows. If we have a look at the trace file, you will note that the adapter type is ODBC. We've connected it to ORAC using the username and password. It's connected via the Oracle driver, found Oracle Server version 10 running using the 1202 client, and my SQL statement is listed here, and it's told me that it's actually retrieved 3 records. So there we have it, the summary of using Oracle ODBC on the Linux platform. You download the 2 zip files, unzip them, get a copy of your tnsnames.ora file, set the tns_admin variable to point to it, ensure that your odbc.ini and odbcinst.ini are set correctly with the minimum values that I showed earlier, and then set your map to connect to the string that matches the connection profile that you had in your odbc.ini. Here is a summary of the connection sequence. Your map has a connection string, which includes a connect option, and the value there, ORAC, has to match with an entry in the odbc.ini file. This connection profile then has 2 values. A blue value here, the driver, that has to match something in the odbcinst.ini file, and then that uses that to connect to the library required to connect to the appropriate database. The other part in the odbc.ini in purple here is the server name, which has to match exactly with an entry in tnsnames.ora, which then allows it to go off and find the remote server name and port number to connect to. I want to thank you for taking the time to view my video presentation today. If you found the content interesting and informative, please hit that like button. Consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, as I release content such as this on a regular basis. Feel free to reach out to me on popular social media channels at Paul Brett IBM. Thank you.